Apple Vision Pro is the future of real estate, or at least it gives you a glimpse into what this future may look like. By now, you've probably seen a lot of different unboxing and reviews of this device, but I wanted to talk specifically about real estate. I spent about 2 weeks with this device and what it was like to use it for regular tasks in my real estate job. And I'm going to be talking about what it was like interacting with people. I hosted an open house wearing this device, and I'll share that experience. And in conclusion, I'm going to talk about some of the ideas and predictions that will happen to real estate industry thanks to Apple Vision Pro and developments in the AI industry. Let's talk about what it was like using this in the car. So one of the first things that I noticed is that real estate agents often work in the comfort of their car with the laptop in their lap. And we do that to write up a contract in an urgent situation or run comparables for a client that just liked the house and wants to know the value of this house. So it's quite often that you are just slouching in the car trying to do a quick 20-minute, 30-minute task. So when I'm in the car, I typically use my 13-inch MacBook. When I'm at home, I use my 34-inch screen with the laptop, so I have multi-screen, one big and one small. So the fact that I can take my 32 or even make it 40-inch or bigger if I would want that screen to the car with me, and I have my laptop and I have other windows open and I have my messages and I have my CMA report and I have my map view, it just gives me so much more productivity to be able to use that. Now, it is sort of clunky to wear it for extended period of time, and everything you hear about the weight being heavy, sometimes you feel it more than the other times. Definitely spending a couple of hours in it gets a little bit uncomfortable, but for those 20 to 30 minute quick tasks, that feels amazing. Another thing that I haven't even thought about when I was testing the device was my posture. And I realized that typically when I work in the car, I tend to slouch and then I'm feeling a bit fatigued in my lower back or my neck. But being able to raise the screen from your vision here to your vision up here allows you to have a better posture. What I'm also planning to test is just to have my laptop on the side and have a Bluetooth keyboard with me, because on the laptop I feel like the keys are not as distinct, but having a keyboard with you, something like this, and I'm used to the layout and I don't have to look at the keyboard when I'm typing, so just having that big screen, multi-screen view, and Bluetooth keyboard, that's kind of life-changing. Now I also use it in my home office for a few times. There are pros and cons to it. I would say that I still prefer my computer for some quick tasks. There is a little bit of lag with the mouse and using the keyboard, just a tiny millisecond, but it's noticeable enough for me to prefer computer for some tasks that I tend to do at home. Now, if I were to bring AI into the picture, that changes things a little bit. With the use of ChatGPT, you can have voice chat with your personal assistant within the Apple Vision Pro. So with the use of spatial audio, wherever you put the window, that's where the sound is gonna come from. And I can have the ChatGPT window open right there, and I can talk to it hands-free. I can give it tasks, I can ask for summary of the things that I'm working on, I can use it to write property descriptions. Better yet, I can write property descriptions being at the property and touring from room to room and describing what I see to the device to create a property description. Now, imagine for a second if I don't even have to describe what I'm seeing, but if I can give permission for the device to observe the surroundings. And I think at some point in not so distant future, we're going to be able to walk through the house wearing a device like Apple Vision Pro and turn on ChatGPT, and the property description is going to write itself. Speaking of using Apple Vision Pro at the houses for sale, I took it to one of my listings and I was creating an interactive tour using the widgets within the device. You can pre-write the information about features and highlights of the property you're selling, and you can put it in different places around the house, and it's gonna stay there unless you reset the view. So whatever you do, don't double click the crown. But if you take a little bit of time and position these features in different places around the house, then you can film going through that interactive tour with the highlights just hovering where you put them. There is no dedicated real estate app for that yet, but I think something like that is going to come very soon. Technology like this will eventually replace brochures and flyers because you'll be able to walk up to the property. You don't need to scan any QR codes or you don't need to tap on anything. The information about the property will just pull up based on your location, and you're just going to be able to see the bedrooms, the price, the bathroom, the floor plan in 3D. I created my custom GPT and I call it Listing Pro. The idea behind it is that I want to be able to walk into any property and just tell the address of the property to the GPT, and at the first glance I wanted to go to Zillow, Redfin, greatschools.org and pull up information from different websites and tell me about this property. So will technology like this eventually replace real estate agents? I think it will replace some agents and some brokerages models. The agents that only bring into the table the ability to open doors and provide information about the house and schools by typically looking this stuff up online and just telling to the client and answering their questions, I think those agents will exit the industry because that will be replaced with technology. The agents that bring more to the table and ability to negotiate and use this technology to be more efficient and faster, those are the agents that will remain in the industry. So if you would have asked me whether I feel more productive and whether my workflow is enhanced while wearing this device, by myself, I would have said 100% yes. But do I feel just as productive and enhanced while wearing this with others? And the answer is no. I don't have a lot of shame, and I didn't have a problem hosting an open house while wearing this device, as awkward as it might have looked for people that were coming to the open house. I spotted a lot of glances because the device is so new and people are not used to seeing this on others. And a lot of people commented that that was the first time that they've seen Apple Vision Pro in person. I mean, don't get me wrong, I didn't get any negative responses. People were just kind of staring at me, and I noticed that people didn't feel like I was looking at them. They probably felt like I was interacting in my own world. So I had another agent hosting an open house with me, and I noticed that as soon as I put the device on, people that were coming in, they were preferring to speak to her because they felt like they were distracting me or they didn't feel comfortable to initiate the conversation. And when I spoke to them, they were sort of startled. Now, a few people walked up and told me how cool it is that I'm doing that and hosting an open house, and they were curious about what I was seeing. And when I was not fooling around, I had property information up, and I had disclosures to the property opened, and I had a side-by-side CMA comparison that allowed me to provide information to buyers at a glance without pulling up my phone or staring at my computer. But I noticed that the mere fact of the absence of the eye contact made the whole experience not worth it. Until we actually get used to wearing these devices, or these devices, they have to go lighter and be less expensive for it to really go mainstream. More so, I think what really needs to change is the ability of sharing files while wearing Apple Vision Pro. So when someone would come up to me and ask me to send them disclosures, I could technically do that while wearing the device, but I had to type things in and send them an email. If I would be able to just take the link and give it to them, if I would just be able to pull it up from the air and maybe throw it into their iPhone, how cool would that be? And I think that that's a technology that needs to happen, sort of like an airdrop, but an actual airdrop. Now, I've also had some Zoom meetings with my team, with some of the agents I work with. I wasn't brave enough to have one with my clients because FaceTime in these things with the persona, it's not great. Let's face it. Now, I've heard that they are still working on it. It's in beta and it's going to be much better, but being able to not just see a square hanging there, but to be able to see a person walking around you, sort of like a hologram, and feel their presence, for the lack of a better term. So two things really need to happen for that. Personas need to go full 3D, and the quality just gotta be better. When you scan, I don't know, maybe a longer scan or a more improved scan, I think that's as bad as it gets, but from this point on, this technology is just gonna keep on improving. Would I host another open house wearing Apple Vision Pro? Probably not. Not yet. Until I see more people using it. Would I go and tour properties wearing Apple Vision Pro by myself? Probably yes. When I'm previewing properties, perhaps I'm gonna show up half an hour before my clients come to the property and I'm gonna walk around and I'm gonna just do some highlights for myself, or if I'm previewing a property for a client that couldn't come to it physically, it just makes sense to do these highlights and then film the screen while walking through the property and commenting through it. My initial experience unboxing the device definitely had a wow factor to it. This was not my first VR device. I used MetaQuest 2 and with these clunky controllers. I did skip MetaQuest 3 because I frankly wasn't using the device as much. I also have PSVR 2, another VR device, and that's another reason why I decided to skip MetaQuest 3 with this device instead, which I think is a better quality than MetaQuest 2. But Apple Vision Pro is the first device that I ever considered to using for work. The other two devices are more commonly used in the living room while playing video games. Apple Vision Pro is doing something different in the way they're approaching the market. They do not market this as a toy, although it is sort of an expensive toy. And I was surprised that it can be used for work and actually optimize some things in the workflow. The fact that I can just put it on and have my multi-screen home office set up feels sort of magical. And the fact that I can use the mousepad, the trackpad, and the keyboard in these windows, that really does feel like magic. So the fact that I can just work, and I typically wouldn't have my screen as big as this. This is sort of an overkill, but this is a comparable quality to what I would use at home. But the fact that I can take it with me and use it in my car blew my mind. And the fact that I can copy things in my laptop and then I can just go over here and insert it. I mean, look at this. So it's moments like this that allows for technology to feel sort of like magic is what gives me a glimpse into the future. But coming back to the real world, so to summarize, I think that using this by yourself as a real estate professional or even a consumer will enhance your experience, more so for a real estate professional than for consumer. And it's kind of cool to use it by yourself and be more productive when touring homes or working in your portable office. Interacting with others, we're not quite there yet. Maybe a year or two from now, but this thing gotta go lighter, gotta go less expensive for it to really go mainstream. And we need ability to share files, otherwise it's gonna be very difficult and longer for it to go mainstream. And should you buy one? Well, it depends. It depends on what side you want to be on. I think as a consumer, I wouldn't buy it just yet. I think it needs more time, and the real estate apps that I had time to use so far, they give you a glimpse into the future. They give you an idea of what this technology is going to be like. And possibly in Gen 2, but maybe even in Gen 1 after software updates and more apps are going to come to this device. So I think the noticeable changes to the industry will be 2030, if I could make a bold prediction. Well, I can tell you right now that I'm not going to be returning the device. After 2 weeks of using it, I'm going to be doing a more comprehensive review down the road after I'm going to use it for a couple of months, and I'm going to do a big comprehensive review after I get to use it for 6 months and then a year. So if you're curious to see how Apple Vision Pro can be used in real estate and maybe get some ideas for yourself, either as a consumer or a real estate professional, make sure to subscribe and I'll catch you in the next one.